Upgrades.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another JVS movie review. Today, we are bringing you a new entry into the world of John Wick, and this one is called Ballerina. Here's a quick synopsis. An assassin trained in the traditions of the Roma organization sets out to seek vengeance after the death of her father, and this one is directed by Len Wiseman, and it stars Anna de Armas. It stars Anjelica, Huston, Gabriel, Byrne, Norman Reedus, and Keanu Reeves as John Wick. Now, there was a lot of questions upon even the mention that Ballerina was coming out of exactly how would they expand the John Wick universe. I mean, a lot of people saw The Continental, which was not a good television show. So it kind of put doubt into going into Ballerina. But what you are given in Ballerina is some of the most unique, some of the most creative action sequences that we've seen in recent memories as we're introduced to Anna's character, Eve. And we get introduced to her father, beginning with her, and a tragic incident happening. And then we fast forward years later to her training to become the ballerina. Those are the elements of this movie that at the beginning, it kind of slows it down a little bit. And you're kind of wondering exactly where it's going, especially like that opening sequence, which feels kind of cheesy, like really cheesy, actually, the opening sequence. But once you get to Eve as an adult and Eve going on assignments, this is when this movie kicks into a drive that, to me, you have not seen, possibly since John Wick 2, of the level of cohesive action in this film is amazing. The way they pulled this off. It never feels like the movie is as long as it is. Unlike a John Wick 4 that went on for almost 3 hours, and you at a point you kind of felt all 3 of those hours of it. With Ballerina, it just moves so steadily in its pace, and it's an interesting story of vengeance, which, again, something else we have not truly gotten in the John Wick universe since John Wick 2, to just bring back that simple element of this is a revenge story here, as Eve is searching for the cult that killed her father. And the cult leader, the Chancellor, being played by Gabriel Byrne, was also an amazing casting decision to do. He plays creepy almost better than anyone else outside of a Willem Dafoe. Like, he plays creepy extremely well here. And again, just having this cult-like atmosphere in it, it gives you, again, another element of story here. That is the strength of Ballerina, is that Ballerina, throughout all the action, at no point in time did they decide to skimp on the actual story to explain what this character was and how everything goes. And it's a key line that's said in this movie that is also was a fear factor for a lot of people going into it. And that is, as Eve is training to become this killer, and we see her constantly losing to men. And one of the trainers tells her, fight like a girl. Take advantage of everything. There's no such rules in a fight. And you needed that in this film, because if you didn't have it, you would have a very petite woman just tossing around grown men. But here we see the hand-to-hand combat that Eve pulls off. And we see that at no point in time is she really overpowering people. She's just taking advantage of every opportunity given. And again, that's another element that made this movie fantastic. Like, this is a true summer crowd-pleasing type of action movie where it's not overly long and it's relentless from beginning to end, and it's just enough to keep an audience intrigued. Anna in this role as Eve is definitely a character that, now that she's introduced to the John Wick universe, you kind of want to know more of her, and you want to see more of exactly where this character is going to go. It was an amazing job at casting her in this role to really expand upon the John Wick universe, and down to even, again, Gabriel Byrne, who plays the Chancellor here. Granted, what the Chancellor does is not necessarily connected overly to John Wick, but we do understand the connections he has with some of the power factions in John Wick. Again, it's those subtle connections that truly bring you back to focus. That Ballerina is a John Wick offshoot and not necessarily a full standalone. Granted, the story is definitely standalone, but the moment you introduce John Wick, which I don't know if many people have said it, including John Wick in this movie felt unnecessary. While there are cool scenes and you kind of understand from a marketing standpoint why you would want to have Keanu play John Wick in this film, from a story standpoint, it just didn't land the way it needed to land. And you just couldn't wait until John Wick went off the scene and you got right back to the Ballerina, because that's when you get more creative action scenes. That truly, it's a scene with a flamethrower. That's all I'm going to say. It's one of the best choreographed scenes I've seen in an action movie in recent history. Like, the Ballerina gives you everything humanly possible. Len Wiseman, who's an amazing action director here, he lays out everything on the table. And it feels like there was no restrictions on exactly how hard they can go in this film. And because of that, it becomes thoroughly enjoyable. While granted, it is extremely predictable, it still is enjoyable from an action movie standpoint. So, the Ballerina released this weekend into theaters, so you have plenty of time to check it out, but you need to run and check this movie out. This movie is that good, especially to see on the big screen. Out of a possible 10, I'm going to get a Ballerina an 8 out of 10. This is the best film in the John Wick universe since John Wick 2. While John Wick 3 and 4, while not bad movies, just feel too disjointed. The Ballerina, from a slow beginning that you get, once this film kicks into overdrive, it is a thing of beauty to see these action sequences and the storyline unfold. Something, again, I don't think we've really fully embraced since John Wick 2. So you get everything in Ballerina from just a female's perspective. And that's what pushes this movie and makes it thoroughly enjoyable. If you're looking for a big action film of the summer, I think the Ballerina possibly will deliver better than any film, and that is including Mission Impossible. Can't believe I said that. But the Ballerina just delivers on so many levels. So check it out. Let us know what you think. This has been another JVS movie review. Peace, people.